All right, hello my friends. How are you today? Aaron Michael Eschenberg here, bringing you some honest insight. A little different from the astrology videos. Today we're going to be talking about quantum manifestation. Quantum manifestation. What does that mean? We know what manifesting is. We're talking about bringing things from the intangible world, from the thought form, into reality. All right. Now, there are a couple different kinds of physics. There's Newtonian physics, which is modern science as we know it. Now, although there can be things that break Newtonian law, such as non-Newtonian fluids, like if you filled up a pool that was full of water and you dumped a bunch of cornstarch in it, all right, the consistency of the cornstarch in the water, you can actually run across it if you're quick enough, and if you stop dead in the center, you'll sink through. Okay, it's still liquid, but it's like liquid that takes on a solid form. This is a non-Newtonian. So there are things in the world of physics, in our modern days of science, that laws can kind of be broken. Now, in the quantum world, it's saying there is no reality, there is no outside here without mind entering into it first. Okay, so it's saying my perception of what life is, my perception of what reality is, actually changes what reality is. Now, there can be some back and forth with this. Like if I knock on my wooden desk here, it sounds like wood, okay? This is part of the Newtonian physical world, physics. That's not going to necessarily change. If I knock on glass, it's the sound of glass. If I knock on plastic, it's the sound of plastic. All right, but we can talk about perception is what changes hugely. Now, Albert Einstein had a huge, it was hard for him to wrap his brain around quantum physics and quantum mechanics. His brain was totally geared toward light. You know, when he was a little boy, riding his bicycle down the street, he turned his light on the front of the bike and thought, well, if I was traveling at the same speed this light turned on, would I be able to see it? And it led him down an entire, journey, okay, E equals mc squared, and the theory of relativity, which we have now before us. Now, Albert Einstein and some scientists way long time ago, when they were getting to the very bottom, the basis of the elements that create life, which is atoms, right? A nucleus and electrons floating around this nucleus. An atom, a single atom. Now, my body, your body, this desk, the microphone, the camera, made up of billions of atoms. Billions and billions and billions of atoms. It's the foundation of all life. Now, Albert Einstein said at the base of these atoms are waves. Now, these waves are not tangible. They're not an identifiable thing, okay? So this atom can literally be a human body. It can be skin. It can be an organ. It can be this microphone. It can be this plastic camera or the phosphorus lens on it. Whatever, okay? Now, this other group of scientists said, no, at the base of an atom, it is a particle, okay? A very real, tangible thing. This is a very real thing. So these two masterminds of groups, individuals, got together under the same microscope. Bear with me, this is all going to make sense, okay? Don't lose me yet. So they put their minds together, and they said, we're going to figure this out right here, right now. We're going to take the same atoms, the same molecules under this microscope, and we're going to take a look at this. So, when the individuals that were looking for waves at the base of these atoms, what did they see when they went through the microscope? They found waves, okay? They found intangible particles. Now, the other group of scientists, when they looked through, they said, no, we don't see waves, we see particles. We see these real things, these very real, tangible, factual things right here. And the group that were looking for the waves could not find the particles, and the group that was looking for the particles could not find the waves. You know what I mean? So it's just like their brain was set, this is particles. This group says, no, these are waves. So then right here in this room, in this experiment, they said, wait a minute. I'm going to look for the waves that I don't see, I don't believe in. I'm going to look for those waves. And this group said, I'm going to look for the particles. They were looking for waves. Okay, so they flip-flopped their ideas. They flip-flopped what they were going for. And the group that only saw waves had now begun to see the particles. And the group that had only seen particles began to see the waves. Okay? This is the basis of quantum physics, of quantum mechanics. Quantum. You see, what we see here, what we are looking for, is what manifests, is what comes out. Okay? Now, if I was like, bear with me again, if I'm like, oh, I want to manifest, I'm a powerful manifester, right? oh, I want an elephant. Boom. And all of a sudden an elephant drops in behind me, crushes my whole house, falls through the top floor down here into the basement. And I've got, basketball-sized elephant turds around my house. Like, there's a reason why our manifestation skills aren't that, magical in that sense, and that they don't go to that level, because there's deeper desires in me. Okay, deeper desires of, no, I want to keep the foundation of my house. This is a wishful thinking thing of wanting an elephant, but it's like, it's not practical. It doesn't really suit me. It doesn't fit into my life right now. Maybe one day I'll have an elephant, but that's not, so understanding, our wants and desires can vary. And when they're deeper wants and desires, deep-rooted things that we hold on to these thoughts on a daily basis, and we think about these things constantly, okay, now then they can start to really form. Now, let's go back to this elephant for a second. Now, if I were to say I want to manifest a cup of coffee into my life today, that might be something much easier for me to manifest. Start on something very small and work your way up to elephant. Okay? So start on a cup of coffee. See if you can, maybe it's just a compliment. Maybe it's somebody handing you something or writing you a thank you note. Try to attract something like this into your life. And now, how do I put this? There's something called where I work. Not only here in Detroit, Michigan, I'm not just an astrologer or a sound therapist, but I work in the film union in Los Angeles. This is my main job. I work in television and TV and movies. So in LA, there's a huge difference when I go back and forth. Detroit is home for me, but I've been working in the union in Los Angeles for a decade. Okay, Hollywood, baby. But there's a different mindset. There's a different mentality out there. The girl that I met at Blockbuster, she's actually an actress. The gentleman that served me a beer over at the Federal, he's actually a director. Okay, he's not a bartender, he's a director. The Uber driver that brought me over there, he's a screenplay writer. And this business professional is actually a producer. And this person is, it's like what you do for a job, what you do for money to make ends meet. Like, they don't have that set in there. This LA mindset is, no, I'm speaking of what I am, what I want to be, but they're already living it as well, So it's like gearing the mind toward actually living and doing what it is. We're not talking about faking it till you make it. I don't really believe in that. It's like doing. You are a director. You are a producer. You are an actress. Whatever it is, you are. And sometimes it just takes these small thoughts, these small ideas, and they can grow and grow and grow and grow. But we don't want to limit ourselves. We don't want to limit our belief system and just say, oh, I'm just this. I'm just an office worker. Or I am just this. It's like, no, you are infinite possibilities. And those infinite possibilities can grow. Well, obviously they're infinite, so we're not limiting ourselves to saying, I am just this. I am just an astrologer. I'm just a sound therapist. I'm just, whatever. I'm just a waiter. No. So it's like we hold these ideas in our head, and we can easily, the more that we hold it, but we can't fall back when we're doing this kind of work, when we're planting these seeds. All right. And I talked about this in yesterday in today's astrology videos. Planting these seeds, you can't plant a seed, and if it doesn't grow in a day, if all of a sudden this tree is not a giant sequoia that you can sit underneath and enjoy the shade from, or if you've planted a fruit tree and all of a sudden you can't pluck its fruit in 2-3 days, it doesn't mean it's not working. It means you need to continue to do the work. We need to continue to water it. We need to continue to allow and accept this is sun, the natural flow of life, beyond our own minds entering into reality, creating the ripple effect, just like, skipping a stone, taking a step into the water. It's easy for us to see this ripple effect that happens. So as our mind creates these thoughts, this ripple effect happens throughout life. Now there's a gentleman named Masaru Emoto, won the Nobel Prize. Okay, he was talking to water. He talked to water. He would write on bottles of water. I've got like all of his books. The guy's an absolute genius, and he would be able to take a photograph at the right specific time, and sometimes he would say, I love you. Okay, and the water would change into this beautiful like snowflake. And then another one, he would say, I hate you. and it would just, like, there would be no beautiful snowflake. It would like kind of dissipate. It'd separate from each other. Those water molecules separate each other. Now we're like 70% water, 70% blood in our bodies. All right. So you can literally, you think these thoughts, this ripples through you. Please look up Dr. Masaru Emoto. Absolutely genius. And even the music, playing music to the water, having kids, gather around a glass of water and tell it it's beautiful. Look in the mirror. Tell yourself you're beautiful. Look in the mirror. You see, I saw this picture the other day. My friend Natalie, I love you, posted this picture of this little girl looking into a mirror, and it was Wonder Woman staring back at her. That is quantum manifestation. You already see it. You are already there. You're putting your mind there, and it's not like the girl sees herself and she kind of sees Wonder Woman. It's no. I am Wonder Woman. I'm Batman. I'm Superman. Whatever it is. We can't. So going back, when we're planting these seeds, we have to allow and accept the natural order of things as well. We have to know that the sun is going to shine on this, and that's going to help it grow. And we have to also do our due diligence. We have to put in our efforts and water that bad boy. Okay? So we have to continuously do this work and not just kick it and say, it didn't work. I tried, but it didn't work. Okay? That's just like having a steak and putting salt on it, or chicken and putting salt on it, or a mango and putting salt on it, or whatever you want to put on a mango, some tahini maybe, some Mexican chili powder. It makes fruit taste good. So, but it's the seasoning that you're adding to this is when I'm talking about the seasoning, this is like our positive thoughts. It's not going to change the foundation of that steak if that steak is a negative thought. Okay, if you're negative, if you're super down on yourself on a daily basis, stuff isn't going to work. It's I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes to create the life of my dreams. And then I'm going to just pepper like some positivity on it here and there. It's not going to change the flavor of the steak. It's not going to change it. So we have to truly embody, truly embrace, and know it. Sitting down and meditating is such a beautiful thing. Such an absolutely important thing. Come visit at the studio for mindfulness in Royal Oak. Myself and Aaron, every week we're teaching meditations, teaching people how to breathe and get in tune with their body. Meditation is so absolutely important when we're doing this kind of work, because we can literally create the life in front of us. And if we're hung up on something, like we can right now, if we just stop and say, I'm going to do a mental push-up. Did you do one? Your brain doesn't know the difference of actually doing a push-up or thinking about doing a push-up. If you really, in that moment, thought, I just got on the floor, I went down, I exhaled, and then, pushed out, inhaled, and exhaled. If you thought about this, the same neurons fire in the brain, whether you thought about it or whether you actually physically sat down and did that push-up. Okay. Now there's this other cool book that I've read called Up from Dragons, and they talk about this a little bit more extensively. And it's like they had these groups of studies where people were doing mental exercises every single day and gained 30% muscle mass. Didn't do a single push-up, not a single pull-up, not a single sit-up. Gained 30% muscle mass in a month from not doing anything. But mentally, because it's the same thing. They've done this with Olympics, runners. Like, okay, mentally run the race in your head. See yourself winning the race. And they have them hooked up to all these diodes, electrodes, whatever they are, the little suction cup thingies. And sure enough, these scientists can measure the brainwave activity, and they are running this race. Okay? So now if you're running the race in your own head, and you see in your own head, if you came out on top, if you came out victorious, you're rewarded. Your brain releases dopamine. That feels good. So you can be in a completely terrible mood. You could have the whole world falling in on you. The Mercury retrograde, all these stuff going on. You can have a terrible attitude about something. You can sit your butt down, breathe, and you can think about your life. You can think about what you're creating in your life. You can think about and create your own happiness right up here. It doesn't matter if it's chaos happening around you. It's all up here. This is the quantum world. There's no reality without mind entering into it first. I'm the happiest person in the world. Here. And you know what? And once we hold that up here, you know, you become a really happy person, and people, you know, it's the proof's in the pudding. So that LA mentality, right? Here's something else too. I purposely wore this shirt today. Startup. It's on one of the many shows I've been very fortunate to work on. As you know, artists, we get into our different areas, or fields. You don't always get to work on the art that you really love and enjoy. So on this particular one, now, you know, this is not an advertisement, but I'm telling you more about, you know, quantum manifestation here. This particular show is all about entrepreneurs. Okay, it was on PBS. It's still on. It's still an ongoing show. It's a great show. I highly recommend it. It's very inspiring. It's inspiring for me, and I was just fortunate enough to be able to work on it. Right. So all these entrepreneurs, we're interviewing all these entrepreneurs that have created a product, created a business, and so many of them say the same thing. I just had an idea, and I just went with it. And now we're turning them around to multi-million-dollar businesses, franchises. Okay, from just a simple idea. And some of them were like, oh, I was making juice out of my parents' house. And I loved making juices. And then all of a sudden this got turned into, you know, there's a need and a want and a desire for all this, and it's created a whole thing out of just a love for doing something. They might not have, you know, that Martin Luther King, you know, it's just like, you don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step. Okay, take the first step. This is an embodiment of this quantum manifestation. When you see it up here, you will hold it out here. You will live it. It's pretty good stuff. So that's all I got. That's all I got. Go out there, have the dream, plant the seed. Plant the seed, hold it in your head, do the mental work, do the mental activities, and you'll be living proof. Living proof. There's nothing holding you back from creating the amazing life of your dreams, and I hope you do it. Please, if you dig this stuff, like, comment, share, whatever, interact with me. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you tomorrow for some more astrology, all right?